Now this one is the properties editor, and this is the central part of Blender. You can find you work here a lot. For example, the first icon here is the render settings. You can change. Blender has two powerful render engines. One is Eevee, real-time render engine, and Cycles. If you change them here, and you can quickly change their settings and parameters. Okay. So the next one is if you hover over your cursor here, you can find it. For example, the next thing is the output editor. It's settings that you configure, right? You can configure it so that your files can be saved in a different way. For example, you can render your scene and save it as a different type of image or video, like, right? You have some camera settings here and other things. Output. This is layers, view layer settings. These are needed for compositing, and these can change your renders. Render is, if you don't know what render is, it is kind of taking a picture of your scene when you have finished your project, right? So this one is scene editor and scene properties. It is, for example, units. You can find different types of units, metric or imperial. So it means inches or centimeters and things. This is world editor, world properties. This is a really cool thing. It is what you, for example, viewport display and the color. We can change the color and change it right here. World is everything around the scene. Yeah, it's world. It's the environment. What you can see if you look at different. You don't look at this model. You look around. What you see is this world. So now I changed the color, but it didn't change because you can change it in shader options, and the background can be a world, and you can see different colors, right? So this is the world, what everything around you, right? You can change it, and if you click on backspace, you can go back to the default color. Let's go back here, theme. Now the next thing is object properties. This object's properties. There are a lot of things here. For example, let's look at the viewport display, and we can change the color. I think we did this, and if you want it to be different color, you can come here. The next thing is modifiers. It's really cool. These are different extra powerful tools that can help you to model faster, to make things faster, to change things faster. So these are modifiers. We will have different section dedicated to modifiers, and we will look at almost all very important modifiers. So these are particles. Particles are really cool. If you change it like this, yeah, you can see some hair, and you can change the different work mode, and you can comb your particles, right? So this is really nice thing. Okay, I will delete the particles. So this is physics properties. This is also a very important part. Let me quickly do something. For example, rigid body active, rigid body passive. Let's say passive, and change this thing, and just play animation and see what happens, right? This is physics properties. You have different physics different physics types. Alt G, Alt R. Oh, we don't need to save this file. You have different physics properties here. For example, dynamic paint, claws, force field, collision, soft body, and you can make some fire or water, a lot of things. So this is constraints properties. You have different types of constraints, and these are things, these are extra tools that can help you in animation. These are really good things. For example, let me do something very quickly. Maybe damp track, and I will just select this, and I will just choose the right thing. And if you move this object, press G and move, the camera always looks at this object. You can see this is what constraints do. If you move the camera always looks at this object. I just configured this in the way that camera always looks at this object. I will remove this constraint. These are constraints. These help animation. This is camera properties. But you know, if I don't select camera, it doesn't show up. If I select this object, this is what is it? It's context sensitive, or what was it called? If you choose something, these properties might change and you won't see different options. So it's what it is. It depends on the object you selected. What you can see here depends on the object you selected. If you don't select anything, and still you can see something, right? So for example, if you select camera, you can see camera properties. If you select light, you can see light properties here in green color. Let's select this. The most properties are in mesh objects. So it makes sense, because when you select camera, you don't have this particle thing. Yeah, you don't grow hair on your camera. You don't want to do that, so you don't need to see it. When you select this object, this 3D model, you want to grow hair on your 3D model, not on your camera or light. So you don't see these unnecessary things when you select camera, right? So let's move on. This is object data properties. Objects have two kinds of properties: object properties and object data properties. I don't want to make it very overwhelming now, but we will see them. Actually, object some parameters specific to each object is usually green. Yeah, but parameters that are general, that are common in all of these objects, are here in yellow color. Okay, for example, all objects have a kind of relation, parenting, child relationships. All of them have this, but specific properties specific to each of these properties are in green. For example, in camera you have these properties, but for this you have different properties, right? So next thing is material. It's really good. Let's come back here and change it to material, and you can change the color of this object with material. For example, we put display and change the color, right? But you don't change the color here in viewport display, because you have lots and lots of really cool things here. We will look at each of them. We'll learn how to make beautiful renders, right? So let's move on, and this is texture properties. We can import textures into a Blender, or we can create our new textures. For example, you can open and import from your storage, or you can create your own textures here, and you can work with this. So this is what properties editor is. And now we will look at